What's up, you guys? Riley here again. And if everything seems a bit weird and you look like you feel like you're doing some deja vu, don't worry. I just got done doing my ginger video. And you want to know what makes that so interesting is that I'm actually getting ready to bring some plants inside. So I wanted to make sure to include you guys in the process too. So I wanted to use this specifically so I could cram a bunch of plants in there, because while I would like the idea of just having a greenhouse and doing all that stuff, I want to do something simple, and I want to show you guys that you can do a very simple get up, and maybe I might not get a lot of stuff to harvest over the winter, and I might not get any, but at least I'm preparing for how I want to go about bringing that stuff. And sometimes preparing it for the winter is just really trying to keep it alive throughout the winter so that you can do whatever you need to do when the spring comes and you have a head start on the spring. And that's what I'm really more interested in. You know, bringing some pepper plants in, some tomatoes, some turmeric, some sweet potato leaves, just so that they can grow over the winter, survive just enough so that I can have a earlier growing season when I get back to planting them all outside in, you know, March and April. So tune in, and I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to go about that process, and I'll probably give y'all some updates over the winter, and we'll see how well that goes. So tune in. All right, you guys, as you can see, I have some sand here. I got some perlite. I have some all natural potting mix, and I have some shake feed, well, fertilizer by Miracle Grow, and I have some water globes. The water globes are just so I can just kind of go about, well, let me go ahead and explain everything. Water globes are just so I can go about watering the plants without worrying about too much water going into them, because I'm not going to try to water them too much, and because I don't want fungus and stuff to develop. And I picked this all natural potting soil because it was specializes in indoor planting, and I want to make sure that it kind of holds water but not holds it too much and like ruins the plant. And of course, it's going to be my first time doing it. I've just done some research on it. I've asked AI to do it. I'm going to put some of my links. I'm going to talk about it a bit more in the description, but I'm going to also, you know, just try my best with it. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you guys have any suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments as well. But this is my first time, and, you know, we're going to go with how that goes. So this is not just any sand. This is pool filter sand. I had a hard time finding any actual sand that I would prefer using. So one thing that I made sure to look up was just like which one would be the better option. And of course, pool filter sand seems like a better option than, you know, play sand or gravel sand or like pavement sand. And one thing I look for when I look for certain products is seeing about their feasibility with, you know, being organic and natural and stuff like that. And one thing that it's not necessarily like a foolproof strategy, but anything that I feel like can be touched by the human hand and kind of go into things that humans use, like you wouldn't see a soap with pesticides in it, you know? So even the pools, I understand they have like different chemicals and stuff you add to it, but pool filter sand, and then, you know, I'm not trying to say I know anything about pools or anything. I know I've rented a place that had a pool, but the cool thing about that is that since it is going into pools that people go into, you would naturally think it would be better. And when I did some research on it, it is one of the better ones to use. Now, as you can see here, it's really wet. It's not like going through my hand like most sand would. And that's because in case there are any dust or any other chemicals in it, I wanted to at least rinse it off a good bit. That way it could at least do that. And it's still drying a bit, but right now it should be good for the moment since it's draining through the bottom. And so one thing I want to use the sand for is that I want to have the sand to be a layer on top and on the bottom, because I'm going to mix the perlite and the natural soil and have it along with some more sand be like a mixture of a base. I love like a center section, while there's sand on the bottom and there's sand on the top. The sand's purpose for me is to help keep it alive, help keep it a bit dry, but also help in case there's gnats or anything that want to live in this soil over the winter. I want to make sure that it is actually able to like protect against that, because sand is sharp to small insects, and it'll like cut them up. So even the like little baby bugs and stuff, larvae and stuff like that, don't necessarily like to like swiggle through it. So putting a top layer on will prevent gnats and other things from making that a nesting ground. And putting it at the bottom will also make it so that when it's trying to air, the water's trying to air out at the bottom, it also, they don't actually go through there as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So we'll go ahead and start with that layer of sand I was talking about. And for right now, I'm making sure that the sand that I'm putting in there is going up against the holes where it could get out, or where more specifically bugs could go in. Let's see. Actually, let's do this. So that's how I'm layering it down on the bottom. All right, now for that next layer, of course, add a little bit more sand there. Kind of have it caked up against the wall. For that next layer, gonna add some soil. And the way I'm gonna do it is that I'm gonna add the potting soil on top of this, and at least, you know, a little over half of the bag I'm gonna add that way. And keep in mind, my goal is not to fill up the whole bag, the whole thing. It's just to get, you know, a somewhat equal amount with it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add some perlite to it. And let me get you guys in on this action. All right, as you can see, I've got some sand and perlite in here. And of course, I'm gonna put some more stuff on the screen so you guys can know fully about this process. But I'm going to go ahead and mix some more sand, perlite, and soil in here so that it can make sure to help keep the soil aerated. And like I said, I would love it to thrive inside, but for right now, I'm trying to prioritize survival, because the goal is for survival, not really for it to do the best. And if I don't prioritize survival at minimum and make that the minimum threshold, then there's a chance that I overdo it and it could die. Now, another thing I'm going to add to this mixture is some shake feed. I'm only going to add a little bit for right now. Well, a little over half. This comes in a pound. And that's going to be so that the plant can go down to the bottom and get the nutrients from the bottom when it goes about getting additional resources and nutrients. All right, just added the last of my sand mixture. And now just kind of add that in, kind of mix that in as necessary. Just got to always check and make sure you guys are getting the full scope of what I'm doing. All right, that looks perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and add some more perlite. I'm gonna add some more potting soil. Well, the last of the potting soil, more so. All right, now let's get adding stuff in there. Okay, like I said before, you probably remember me saying this in a previous video. I'm going to go about pitting turmeric in here as well. So here's a bit of turmeric, and I'm going to go ahead and pit that over here and catacomb it in the corner here. Boom. Easy peasy. All right. All right, we're back, guys. Sorry about that little programming error. My phone got too hot. So as you can see behind me, I've already started adding some plants. I added a tomato plant. I took a cutting off of a one that did really good this year. I showed you before. I have my turmeric. I got a sweet potato vine that I really like, and I have some bee balm right here. I haven't done much research on bee balm, so I don't know if it can overwinter, but I want to at least save it so that I'm not scrambling to find more in the new year. You'll also notice that I have my pineapple plant, and I might put, oops, and I might put both pineapple plants that I have in here, and I have my variegated oregano. And the reason I have these here is because I want to make sure to bring those inside, because those will not survive the winter. So what happens there is just all up to the odds of that. So if it dies inside, it would have died anyway. So it doesn't hurt to even try to really just kind of go for that. So I'm gonna go ahead and start putting that in. All right, like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and pull these up. And one tool I'm going to use is this Cobra Head Original Weeder and Cultivator. I got this at the the garden fling that I went to in the winter, and I'm going to have an affiliate link in the bio, because I really like this, because it really does help weed and kind of helps pull up like some plants, like for what I'm trying to do, so that I can replant them and stuff like that. So in case you guys are interested, it's like a little weeder, and it really has a lot of leverage because this little iron handle is like really strong, and it's stronger than, I want to say, the metals that are used to for most of my tools. So yeah, feel free to go with it. I'm going to try to make another video just to talk about this itself, but just wanted to let you guys, do a call out in case you guys wanted to know about this, because it wasn't until the garden fling that I even heard about this thing. So, and it's pretty useful. So I hope you guys can get some use out of it too. All right. So here, I'm trying to pull it up a bit, but I'm going to use this to kind of help pull it up the rest of the way. All right, check that out. Beautiful. And like I told you before, my pineapple plant is not guaranteed to survive when I'm doing this process, but it isn't going to survive either way. So why not get out there and just try it anyway? All right. Then we have this over here. Let's go. And here, we'll just go ahead and just mosey it on here. And like I told you guys before, I understand this might not be the best way to go about doing this stuff, but I want to just kind of go ahead and just do some type of manner in which to go about trying to keep this stuff alive. And if it survives, it survives. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But we try. In the end, we tried. All right. Now we're coming back over here. We're doing the variegated oregano. This one can survive as a perennial in some areas, but last year mine did not. So I'm not going to take any chances on that. Boom. Beautiful. All right. We're going to go ahead and add this one right here. And we're good to go. Now to go to my next one. All right, here's my other pineapple plant. Because, just need the odds. And of course, using this handy dandy tool again too. Look at that. With one hand, I was able to pull that up. Just so because it was able to get down on the bottom. Of course, use it carefully. And boom. Got another pineapple plant ready for it. good to go. All right, we're deep in the garden for this one. Now, you guys probably remember from my other video, I'm going to be harvesting my other ginger plant, but this time I'm not going to be harvesting it for to bring it inside as far as like to eat like I did my other one and my other turmeric plant. I'm doing this one, and I think this is ginger. I want to say confidently that this is ginger, but after that last video, it really threw me off. And if you haven't seen what happened in the last video, feel free to check that out to see what I'm talking about. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull this one up and go ahead and get it ready to get planted. And of course, got my handy dandy cobra head tool. And you know, I just want, even though I do have an affiliate link that you guys can use to get this, and I do get a percentage from it, I do just want you guys to know that it's actually a really good tool. So buy it if you want. Don't buy it. I'm gonna promote it as I use it, but you know, there's nothing I'm really trying to make you guys use, but I just want you guys to know about the awesomeness that is this tool and how good of a weeder and good it is to use for other things. Huh. I don't know. I might bring in this other, this, like this pear tomato here. Of course, it has blossom end rod, but I might try to bring one of those in too to see about how I can go about that too. But yeah, let's get back to it. All right, so I already went ahead, like my other process, and watered this so that it would be good enough to go. And let me go ahead and grab this while I'm thinking about it. All right, got me a whole new tomato plant. And in case you don't know, these plants right here, they grow in between the stem of the tomato plant and a regular, like the regular, well, like a one branch of a tomato plant and the stem. This can be a whole new plant. So that's where I pulled that other one from. All right, and as you guys can see, let's get y'all in closer. All right, we're digging in here, trying to get under it. And it has a good curve, so whew, look at that beauty. All right, knock off some of this dirt. Yeah, and this is specifically it's definitely ginger. You can definitely tell by how these roots look. All right, let's go ahead and get it ready. All right, so I got my ginger plant right here, looking great. And I'm gonna go ahead and put it over here in the corner so I can get some use out of that corner area as well. And voila. That's looking great also. Gonna go ahead and add this in there because I told you guys I would. Go ahead and give myself a little bit of a start with another tomato plant. And as you can see, these are all the plants that I want to have growing for the winter. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this other soil in these other pots back, and we'll go ahead and finish this on up. All right, y'all. So I finished it off with the last of the soil. And this is the indoor soil. And I'm adding some sand now, with the last of the sand to this mix. And we should be in business. Added some more perlite too. So and so welcome back, guys. I didn't know that it wasn't recording, but now I see it. So so as you guys can see, I've pretty much finished laying the sand down, and as you can see, I got two pineapple plants, a ginger plant, uh, a turmeric plant, some bee balm, some variegated oregano, and I might actually add some thyme to. All right, you guys, sorry about that. I wasn't expecting the camera to die It's died twice now. And so that's kind of annoying, but you know, we're gonna keep on keeping on. And for right now, we're looking pretty good here. We got 2 pineapple plants. Yeah, 2 pineapple plants, some thyme back here, some tomato plants over here. One that did really good, so I want to kind of see if I can make it into a perennial. I'm gonna grab some peppermint later. All right, you guys. Whew, this has been an exhausting trip. Uh, my camera has not worked 2 separate times. Yeah, you saw that too. All right, so we're gonna run through this fast and try to keep an eye on the camera, make sure it doesn't wig out on us. So we got a ginger plant, 2 pineapple plants, a tomato plant, some variegated oregano. We got a pepper plant in here, and some thyme, and a sweet potato vine. So it's looking good. This looks like a pretty productive thing. And so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray this whole plant down, just so I can make sure that any bugs or anything are off of it, any eggs and stuff like that. And as far as maintenance goes, I'm gonna spray some neem oil on it while it's inside, just kind of anytime I see any bugs and stuff. But I'm gonna make sure that when I bring this inside for the winter, it's not you know, contaminated with any bugs or anything. That way I don't have to deal with those inside. But for the most part, this is it right here. This is essentially what we have going on. But yeah, you guys, after all this is what we've got. So like I said before, I'm gonna spray this all down, and I'm gonna keep it a bit segregated from the other plants. But yeah, I'm gonna keep this all sprayed down. Well, I'm gonna spray it all down. Not gonna really focus on really wetting the soil for the moment, because once I do want to wet the soil, I'm gonna use these handy dandy little things, and I'm not gonna water them too often. I'm just gonna try to maybe even use a soil moisture meter in the meantime whenever I do water it. But overall, I'm just as you guys seen, I'm bringing in all the plants that I either like or I know can't handle the winter. And like I said before, I'm gonna spray this down to make sure there's no bugs or bug eggs there. Gonna go ahead and quickly moisten the soil too, so that it can have a good start for its transition. And I'm gonna check back with you guys later on to see how many of these things actually survive. And I'm gonna try to give you updates over the winter about it. So that's gonna be pretty awesome. Like I said before, also I'm gonna have some neem oil to help with pest management as well. And this might have got cut out with the other footage, but I do have some all-purpose sand. And while I don't necessarily like to use it, I'm gonna use it to, as I see, like monitor the sand and like this pot over time and over the winter to make sure there's no bugs really getting into it. And you know, just gonna be, I mean, I might use it to add an extra layer of protection from bugs and things to contaminate it. But yeah, this is good. This is how we're gonna go about doing it. This is gonna be my second or third time trying to bring stuff inside. Last time, a few times hasn't turned out too well, but we're just gonna keep trying. And if it doesn't work out, it just doesn't work out. So, this is how you go about doing it. Keep a layer of sand, and just so I can kind of give you guys a heads up, let me go ahead and just give you guys just a quick how-to when it comes to making plants inside, like bringing plants inside. And it's going to be like a little reminder. Of course, this part of the video is for my friend Sandy. I gave her a plant, and she wanted to know about how she could go about bringing it inside. So here we have our pot. Now to get some sand. All right, cool. We got our sand. Now, take this for example. This is some more thyme. We're gonna go ahead, and I might make this its own separate little video as also, but I'm gonna add it onto this one just so you can see. And have it firmly planted down there. Gonna add some soil. And as you can see, like I told you guys at the beginning of this video, you're adding the sand at the bottom so no bugs think about going inside of it and going inside of it from the bottom. And now that we have it like that, You're gonna add some more sand to the top, and you're good to go. And so this is how you would necessarily bring a plant in for the winter. And this has worked numerous times for me. And you can kind of put a little pitcher at the bottom. That way it can kind of hold the water. You guys are probably familiar with that. And then that way you can come water from the bottom. And if gnats think about coming into here and planting like eggs and larvae and stuff like that, it'll get shredded by the sand. And if it tries to go through the bottom, it'll get shredded there. So yeah, so that was a fun little adventure. Hope you guys like the mention of the tools that I was using and all the products and stuff like that. I'll try to leave some stuff in the bio and the description as far as resources go. But yeah, this is what we're gonna do. And as far as to wrap this part up, I'm gonna spray this plant down, water the soil a little bit, and then I'm going to let it sit outside for a couple weeks while it's still warm so that it can be but separated from the rest of the garden. Let it sit there, and then I'll bring it in. That way I can see what survives and I can let it acclimate to the soil, but also keep it alive while it's transitioning here without having to risk it getting further contamination from any bugs or anything that's trying to come inside with it. So if you guys liked the video, hit like. If you didn't, hit like anyway. Comment if you have any suggestions or any other tips, or if you just want to say, hey, I love seeing you guys in the comments, and I look forward to another adventure with you guys. So see you guys next time. Like, subscribe, share, and come on and join the family. We're having fun.